So, what's in the box? This is a knife I've wanted for a very long time, and I don't know, I just never got around to buying one. I take a look. Bunch of paper. There it is. This is how you get them. Nothing fancy. It's the Glock 81. I'll tell you a real story about these things, right? I wanted the 78. They don't make them anymore. I think they stopped making them in like 2017, maybe. So if you can find them, they're really, really pricey. Now, when I was in the military, back in the service days, my unit, we had an approved knife list, right? This wasn't on it, but all the cool kids had it. They were really hard to get and kind of pricey back then. Uh, yeah. So I'd wanted one ever since these, right? This is the Glock knife. For those of you that don't understand or know, Glock started making this knife for the Austrian army way before they made pistols. And what's really interesting about this knife is like what was on our approved list. Now, this isn't the one, but this is one that I've purchased it. But yeah, this is what I could have. I was in the Navy. I was a CB, right? And actually, at the time, I always wanted the Marine knife because I didn't understand or know. But the extra length on the blade to the Marine fighting knife makes them bend really easy. It is full tang, but it's kind of like a rat tail. It's a very small. You can see it right there. See, it doesn't really run the full length of it. But all the cool guys, basically the officers and like the chief petty officers and guys like that, right? They had not this knife, which wasn't approved, but you could slide it by them. I mean, by today's standards for an outdoor knife, yeah, this is not exactly what you would use nowadays. Nowadays for an outdoor knife, you know, yeah, I don't like Kydex sheaths much at all. But yeah, I'd always wanted one of these, and I'd always been thinking about buying one. And every time I got ready to buy it, I'd end up buying something else. And I saw it the other day, and I was like, I'm gonna buy one of those. But absolutely does not disappoint me. It's a good sticking knife. You know what I mean? The Austrians used it for a bayonet. Um, Now, the construction of this knife is like it's not a full tang whatsoever. Uh, Glock, he's really famous for these polymers, right? So what this is, it's a softer steel. It's like a 55. And the reason they went with a softer steel is pretty simple. If you have ever tried to sharpen, uh, even like this over here, okay, with the crappy sharpening stones we had in the service, it was hard to resharpen these even, let alone one of those super steels. But these soft knives like this, you can just take a few swipes onto the stone and absolutely sharpen it right up. These were not really, to begin with, every community has its, I don't know what you would call them. They're woke people, right? And don't get me wrong, I watch these guys online all the time, right? They're fun to watch and it's interesting. And they take the knives out and they abuse them. And look, take it from me. I live in East Texas. I go out in the woods all the time. And if I want to chop wood and make a fire, I have a hatchet, okay? Why would I use a hatchet and not try to, because you don't want to exert that much energy. I'm an old guy, even when I was a young guy. You don't want to be batoning, and it just is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Use a hatchet for God's sakes. What are you, retarded? I mean, god dang, man. It's like them gun bunnies wearing skinny jeans and helmets to the range with chest plates. But anyway, yeah, I'd wanted one of these for a very, very long time. I've got this weird habit when I buy pistols. I usually match a knife to it to put on the gun belt. I have a dedicated gun belt for all my pistols, a range belt, so to speak, right? And I always hang a knife on there because you never know. And I'm getting a high power clone, and I'm gonna match this with it, right? And I wanted the desert tan. Uh, but yeah, I mean, this was like I said, all the cool kids had them. But in case you don't know, it's like with these Glocks and stuff. If you see one in some sort of a package or a box that says Glock, it's usually counterfeit because these are military issue knives, right? How you see it is how it comes. Just sometimes it's in a paper bag, sometimes they put it in that little plastic bag. But yeah, that's how you get it. But anyway, I just thought that this was slick as heck. Yep, when I was a young man, I'd have killed for one of these. Now I'm an old man and I got it. But I think it's funny. They had these Glocks came out in like the late 70s, maybe 78. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. But it was smooth, and that's the one I wanted. But like I said, you can't get those anymore. If you see them, they're ungodly expensive. So this one here was the 81. This is what's available now. You get it in all kinds of colors. I wanted the desert tan, so I waited a while for it. But yeah, it's just a good knife. It'll do the job. And you don't have to be afraid of messing it up. Thing only costs like $45, but yeah, it's got a really good feel to it. Anyway, God bless people.